yourself as an artist, or are you trying to fit in to what exists? So that's what we're going to explore. And we see so many different artists who are going through expressing themselves in this day and age we're in, finding their voice. We have like multiple different artists from all ethnicities, like Mo Amer, who's a Palestinian comedian who's done his own show. You've got Lulu Wang, who did The Farewell, Asian American, you've got Latin American. Everyone's bringing their own almost ethnic stamp to their work. And the question is this more to do with the changes of the time we're in, or is it to do with the only way to reach audiences in order to then create your own work as a stepping stone? Or is it a mixture of everything? Like, how do you know what the line is between your authentic desire as an artist versus having to do something, out of like an obligation or a choice to enter, this industry or enter this market? So that's where we're going to start.
I've thought about it a lot of times. For myself as both comedian, actress, artist, is that, you're searching for your artistic voice, that's one, but you're also searching for your authentic voice as like, if I'm doing a project, like, am I doing it for the mainstream, or am I doing it because I really believe, or my heart is in this project? And I think that's one thing with the time we're living in that I love, is that we're getting all this different backgrounds on the screen, because when I grew up, it was very little. It was very stereotypical. So if someone was playing an Asian American, it wasn't representing the real authentic Asian Americans. Or you talk about Mo Amer, it's same, like, you didn't get their backstory. They had to play a role, and it was very fixed. They were in this cluster. So I think it's fantastic that we get to hear and we get to see done by people who are connected to that culture, to that environment. And part of it maybe is also that, I always say in stand-up, like, when you want to do comedy on stage, and especially in stand-up, start with telling stories about you. Don't try to take somebody else's story, because the audience will right away notice that there is something lacking. Authenticity, it won't hold up. But if you start with your own life and you start, telling about that, because a lot of people want to be George Carlin, which is a very political stand-up comedian, but you can't get from that, from here to George without you going the steps first. And I think that being authentic is important, but also maybe some people do it because they really want to voice their cultural background, and some people feel that this is the way to come into the market.
Yeah,
so the options are many.
Yeah, exactly. That's but when we want to look into the history of it, there's some interesting kind of you could say origin stories of how all of this this came about, and also the kind of the opposite that was usually the case in old Hollywood in the era in the 40s, where you had actors who even wouldn't they wouldn't reveal their ethnic background for the sake of being true. And so there is I'll share her name is Merle Oberon, which was a very not really well known let's say in the era, but she was a very prolific actress, and she acted in so many roles, so many iconic Western roles, Wuthering Heights and being one of them. And she had a secret, and her secret was her ethnic background, was that no one knew she was half Indian, and until she died, and that's the crazy, that's how I never really knew about that. So
no,
Yeah.
I notice that I get so irritated because I feel like art has no borders or flags. You know, art, if your color or your ethnicity is a problem to play a role, then we have to question this art. You know, like I get so angry that I can only imagine what she has lived through, where she had to always hide a big part of herself with even cast and crew and with the studios, so that she keeps on doing what she loves to do, acting and being in these roles. And also audience. I mean, the power of, if they would have let her reveal her ethnicity, it the audience, movies have so much influence on us that it would have opened a port of people being more tolerance, more understanding, more acceptance that, hey, we share this planet with other people. Someone who's half Indian can play a role in these movies. And hiding it, it doesn't make it any better. You're just feeding the machine to be more racist and more prejudiced.
Yeah, it's a really layered one. I think it's so many layers to it because when you see like you said, there is a machine, that exists, and that machine, is what has made a huge impact, in the media, in the world. I have complete admiration, like I said, in our earlier episodes, my earlier episode, second episode. So, I grew up watching Hollywood films, and I was so inspired by watching actors from, Hollywood portraying roles from, crazy stories, fantasy worlds, romance, all of this, just so much imagination that I love in the Western canon of like film and literature. And so of course it's a machine, and it's a machine that has more than a machine, because I think machine nowadays, you think about AI and it's like it is a force, and it's a powerful force, that has influenced the world. And then you see that everyone wants to be not everyone, but people who want to be a part of it, wants to create, has had to do certain things in order to be part of this. And when we're looking at culture and being mixed, or having more than one thing to yourself, you're having to compromise a huge part of yourself, a huge part of your truth, to succeed and be seen by the majority audience, which is white. In this case, it's an American Western audience, to be part of Western works. You know? So it's a very interesting, nuanced thing. And now we can look at, pretty much more of examples of what she was in. Like, it's just insane. I won't go too much in the biography, but she was married to an English director. That's part of, maybe another reason why, you don't know exactly how things worked, but like, the fact is, she still had talent. She still connected to artists.
And gorgeous.
And
she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean,
but there was an 11th degree of assimilation. It was a strong degree of assimilation, both on a personal level with, her personal life, getting married to an English director, and then working in that, but then having to hide this part of yourself is something that, look, it's just incredible, the level of like talent and work that she did. This is in Wuthering Heights. So it's
and I just think of this where we grew up in the Western Hemisphere, and we were always told that sorry, I got something in my throat, that we stand for freedom, democracy, freedom of speech, freedom of choice, and when you grow up with that, you take that literally, and you always say, well, for example, in my case, I'm a woman. I have it much better on this side of the world, according to what you see in the media, and you can do whatever you put your mind into it. But when you read these kind of things, you just go like, but no, it's not that, like there is still a frame within
Yes,
this,
right, right,
and
right.
it's very nice words we use, but same time it's like, yeah, you're free, but not to the areas. There's certain areas you're not free to step in, and if you do, you have to hide a huge part of yourself. And then I just go like, well, then we just have to, mark over this whole like, we're tolerance, we're acceptance, we are free, because it doesn't come. If I have to hide part of myself, then that's not freedom. That's living a double life.
But this is where
And
the line is. This is where there is this like hypothetical line, that is
yeah,
hard to define between. Now you have this example of someone who achieved such success, and
yeah,
then you have this other example of other examples of, I'm going to show with Riz Ahmed. So, for example, he really spoke to this, and this is an
yeah,
artist, present, modern, nowadays. We're
yeah,
looking at someone who is of South Asian background and is real about it, is revealed to the world about, he's not hiding it. So,
no,
but this is what it's, basically, here we go. We have the headline, typecast as a terrorist, and
yeah,
and now we see, wow, like this is from the 40s, and now we have this modern day example, and he's speaking to the real reality of what it means to be true to
yeah,
your ethnicity, to the world, to the
yeah,
Western world, and what it would mean to be an actor, an artist, representing that
yeah.
nowadays.
I think that in the casting process, I'm sorry, I have to make a joke. They should
Yeah.
have this question where it's like, have you ever felt to dominate a group? Oh, yeah, okay, yes. Have you ever felt? And then if all the yeses, then you hire the person. But if the person is like, I've never felt to, hurt anyone, yada, yada. I know we're artists and we're supposed to play different characters, but if you start getting the same, you know, stereotypical character, you have to
Right.
at some point ask the actor, do you have aggression in you? Do you like playing these roles? And my question is also to casting directors and people who write scripts. Like, is this, the world is big,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you should be some of the knowledgeable people who are doing movies, and you do research before you write the script. Where in your research showed that every person from a certain demographic background must
Exactly.
be, and yeah,
I wanted to show. Yeah,
I
this
was
is.
now labeled as a Muslim.
Yeah.
I just saw the last time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the one.
And another thing is that the the wor- the Western world has to stop with this tags they create, like Muslim, Jewish, Christian. In the end of the day, all three faiths come from Abraham, that one same old guy, Semitic background, which is both Arabs and Jews. So, and for me, it's like, why are you being labeled,
Yeah.
over your faith?
Yeah, and your ethnicity. That's
Yeah,
it's both the, you know, is the question, and where that's where I started, where is to do with, as an
yeah,
artist, do you now it's a good thing that you're able to be honest, you're able to share
yeah,
stories, about your background, just like Mo here. We've got Mo, his series. He did an incredible, yeah.
I'm gonna go and see him. He's coming. He's
Oh
coming
my,
over
no
to
way.
to
To
to my
Norway.
way. So I'm gonna go see him in about 2-3 weeks. I'm so
Wow,
excited.
that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
That's, there we
yeah,
go. That's alignment here. So,
yeah,
um, but that's, he was able to communicate his truth, his story, in a
yeah,
way that was such, so much comedy, so much lightness, so much
Yeah.
clever, storytelling, in his work,
Yeah.
and make it accessible and mainstream, to audiences
I mean,
too.
he is regarding storytelling, he is amazing. And I watched his series, and I mean, it's about his life with added a little bit of spices to make it funny, and tragedy, equals tragedy plus time equals comedy. So he's a fantastic artist who has managed to bring his background, and I think he's one of these people where I'm grateful that he is telling his background. We need to hear it. And this is what I mean.
Right.
Is like
Right.
the question we have, like, did he do it because this was his way into the market, or did he do it because he really, really wants to raise a voice about his background and how he, his journey to America?
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, this is the real question is now where, there are so many artists who are influenced by media of all kinds, and of all tastes and genres. I definitely have I love period pieces. I love fantasy. I love romance, and a lot of those genres are pretty much associated with Western literature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because you don't, and I was, I as far as acting goes, I was in a rom-com, which was a Middle Eastern rom-com, but it was like,
which one was that? Something in Cambridge? Or was that,
Cal in Cambridge, yeah. So
yeah, Cal in Cambridge, yeah.
And it was a very weird thing to be part of, because I felt like, as much as it was great, I was really celebrating this would be a great way to, showcase something light, fun, exciting, and also your cultural background mixed to it.
Yeah.
I felt that was really cool. But at the same time, I thought it was too close to home as well for me. I just felt, what, I don't want to just be expressing my cultural background. I just want to be a part of a rom-com like Notting Hill, where it was
just a guy, just a character.
And I didn't have to be a main part. It's not about being the main part, the main character. It's just being in the world that is something I enjoyed watching, rather than communicating a message. And it's a very weird thing, because everyone has a different reason to be part of this, being an artist. Is it to do with communicating a statement, or is it to do with creating and enjoying and being an artist?
Yeah.
And then you also have that's where, we have like directors, going to look into directors now, where M. Night Shyamalan, he has done so many films that are, I had no idea he was of Indian background. I mean, and I don't even think that should be a question as well. I think we shouldn't look at things too much in terms of ethnicity and, where you're from. But at the same time, as you mentioned, it is important. So it's this kind of mix of things happening.
Yeah. I always check, because I want to, it's about being able to relate to, like, immigrant parents, but I feel like it went from when I grew up in the 80s, where people playing certain ethnicities that for example, it's not that it was like a Mexican being hired to play an Iranian, and of course playing a negative. And because most probably there wasn't many Iranian actors at the time, or if they were, they rejected the role. And so some other actor took it with a different ethnic background. So they all got it wrong, and the public raised their voice that, hey, why are you getting a person from different background that doesn't know, the culture of this country to play that? So then they were like, let's be politically correct. And now this, because every time you get it's like, but you don't connect to the ethnicity, which is perfect. I think it's fine. Okay, we have now established, if you want someone from a certain country, certain ethnicity, please hire actors. If you don't find, then you go like, we didn't even find, we have to cast outside of that geography. But now it has become too much, because then you get locked in, and that's it. That's all you get. Like,
exactly.
Actor from this country that can play only this, and it becomes very frustrating.
Yeah. It's like locked in and rigid, almost rules being made, which is like, when was art about rules?
Yeah.
When was that ever introduced? When did we have these rigid? Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
This reminds me also of, it's one thing also that the studios want to go, they want to sell, of course, and they want the public to like it. And we talked about this, the new Harry Potter TV series about diversity, and then they
That's
picked
crazy you mentioned that because I have it right
right, yeah,
here. There we
and
go.
how everyone
Yeah.
was like, no,
Yeah.
how can you? And I'm like, it's fictional, it's
Yeah.
a fictional story, okay, like,
Yeah.
and yeah, Black
Yeah.
Snape. And I just go like, I understand if this was a story about Henry V, and you
Yeah.
needed to get, the that time UK, you had to get but this is,
Yeah. I
and the
mean, yeah.
fact that this tells also a lot about the public, how they're influenced by the movies where they're like, no, this can't be. It's the same with James Bond. They were like, no, we don't want to color James Bond. And I'm like, again, it's a fictional story. It's not like you're making Bible all over again, although
Right.
we have
Right.
changed
But I
the
think that's
ethnicity
where
of certain.
the media is hyping and almost zooming into the fact, highlighting like
Yeah.
this is a whole article about this choice. It's
Sorry,
a
I'm
whole
laughing, but
so no, but
the
yeah,
absurdity
yeah,
here seems designed to cause controversy, but it could work. Why wouldn't it work? And
but why would you
I mean,
highlight it? That's the world we're
yeah,
in. Like, and it's just really seeing that we are in this world, sadly, that hasn't
yeah.
really changed. If we're really gonna
No,
be
no.
honest, compared to the world of where things were back in the 40s and
Yeah,
now we're just kind of being more clear about,
yeah,
oh, this is what we think about it. Before it was
yeah, yeah,
hidden. There was not even any
yeah, yeah,
t-
yeah,
there
yeah. And
was
also,
yeah.
black and white movies, it was easier to hide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once the color movies came, it was a bit more difficult. But I think it's fantastic that we have a Black Snape. I think it's fantastic that there is diversity in TV series. You know why? Because my daughter loves these books. My daughter has seen the movies and she will definitely watch the TV series. And I want her to resonate with the cast of this movie where she sees that there is diversity. It's not one way to have
Right.
actors, but there is different. And we are again in a world that has we share the globe,
Yeah. Yeah.
and again I go like, if it's a historical fiction and it's a time era to a certain country, I get it. But then here's my problem. A lot of times, for example, there was a talk, and I don't know if this was just a rumor, but there was a talk to make a movie about Rumi, Jalaluddin Maulana, which is a very famous Persian poet. And he has become very famous in the West now because his poetry is timeless. It's not connected to any culture. It's about you, yourself, finding the divine, being a good human being. And there was a talk at some point that they wanted to make this movie, and the faces of the people who was going to play in this movie were all A-list Hollywood actors. And of course, what do you think? The people from that country or that region, they were like, no way. He was one of us. And the argument was that it will sell more, for example, if you put Leonardo DiCaprio's face towards, like for Rumi, than an unknown Iranian actor or Turkish actor. But that's not the point.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
we're in a different era now. We're in a
Yeah.
different era of globalization. Like that's
And here's the thing
Yeah.
is that people lose their mind over a Black Snape, but they have no problem of watching a movie of someone's, because this is part, like this is very deep rooted in the Persian culture, Rumi. You have no problem to switch the main guy to a blue-green-eyed blonde
Right,
hair.
right.
That is fine. And if they object, they go like, why are they so peculiar about who plays it? I go like, well, this was a historical person. It has a huge role in their culture. Black Snape is a fictional character in a book written for fantasy.
Yeah. This is where now we're seeing so much more of the underlying, like,
Yeah.
value system, you could say, or perspective on how
Yeah.
race is viewed from a Western lens.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
And I think it's also, I think movies have so much influence on us. I mean, we grew up with that. We were influenced. And though the studios, the playwrights, the directors, they have a responsibility because what they create influences people's mind and influences how they look at each other and their neighbors. So the change has to come from within the system.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's where we'll leave it.
You can't give cake to people and then this was sounded so like Marie Antoinette, but
Yeah.
you can't give it and then tell them, but it's bad for you.
Yeah.
Don't eat too much cake. Like you can't go like, well, the public is having this opinion. We're gonna make the movie and we don't understand why. No, you do, because it's how much influence it has. You see it in the box office with how many people have gone and seen the movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we'll be moving on to in our next, discussion, because this is, again, we're all discussing, the things, all this is, discussion points and thoughts, because there's so much changing already in the world and in the industry, and how everything is influencing one another. So, but the next,
I'm just gonna apologize. There is a truck outside of my window. I live in downtown, so I can't. There is noise. I'm so sorry.
No. It's, I can't hear a thing, so it's
okay. Good.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I have hope. I have seen how the movie industry has changed since past 40 years, and I have hope. And I think that like the article, like over like how he was casted to a certain stereotypical, the fact that he can speak openly about that is amazing. Like he can come out, because I think at some point it was also a lot of like, I can't say it, I will lose jobs, so I'll keep quiet, but I'm going to be bitter from inside. I think that we are in a change. Maybe it's not that big as we hope, but I have hope.
We are, for sure. I feel that too. But I feel it's also very interesting because things are being exposed, and in the past it wasn't. In the past, someone like Merle, she had to hide her ethnicity for all those years, and then it became exposed. So we didn't see it. I didn't notice it even growing up. I had no idea that this was the world.
No. But I wonder also, like, how many more Merles are out there that we don't know their story, because maybe they didn't make it big. So, but how many has been hiding who they are, what they believe in, just because they were so scared of losing a job or not being casted, or in the end of the day, it's about getting paid for what you want to work with, and it's a very peculiar world we live in.
Yes, it is. But we'll talk more about that in the next segment, and how everything is. There are layers and hierarchies. That's what we'll explore next, is like how studios have influenced, artists, and how, that as a ripple effect affects audiences too. Yeah.
Definitely. They, of course, they have their framework of how they want to run their work, but also the people that are working in that environment have to represent. It's like if you work for United Nations, you have to represent United Nations values. And so it's the same with the studios. You are representing their values, but it's not always very clear, because it changes from studio to studio. So yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's another
yeah,
topic, very interesting.
yeah, yeah,
And like you mentioned, it's coming out now thanks to social media, thanks to that people really, I love YouTubers. I
yeah,
don't know about you, but
yeah.
I've been extensively
Let's,
following this
yeah,
Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively, and
yeah,
it's amazing to see, and not talking about the case itself, but it's amazing to see how people put their time to research and put it out on the internet, because it's one thing when you read it in tabloids or
right.
newspapers, but it's another thing when people have actually like gone and logged in and read the position and all. Like I'm like, wow, like because then you get so much more than you can get in an article. In the article they have to just like sum it up,
Yeah,
but then you
yeah,
go in and thank you. Like
yes, yes,
I'm
yeah.
amazed. And
Yeah, I'm
uh
for sure I'm the same as well. I'm just
yeah,
amazed by the level of analysis and level of research and desire for truth, to be revealed, because so much
yeah,
can be so deceiving in the
yeah.
headlines and, so like yeah,
Clickbaits.
yeah,
The clickbaits that I hate, like what happened to
yeah,
her, you will never know, you won't believe, and then you click and then you're like, I didn't understand, there was nothing in this article that I was like,
yeah,
I know. And I think that you know the,
yeah.
the the social media has given a voice, another voice to people, and I'm very grateful for that. And you
Mm,
see that, and I noticed the first time that this is good was when there was demonstrations in Iran for their vote right. This was 2009, and this has been going on like and the only way we could get real access of what's happening in the country was through there was a Twitter fight, because that's the only way people could write what's happening. Because the
right,
media, they will
right,
never let the Western media in. Their own media will cover it up in a different way. And I'm not judging any government right now, but it was like you were getting information that the media not necessarily, not that they don't want to, but they're also working within a frame. And to get, you also connect better, I think. Like whatever happens in the world, like if I see a Ukrainian family filming of what's happening in Ukraine, it becomes, I connect to them easier,
right,
and then
right.
you have a much better understanding than 10 o'clock news to tell you what's happening, and then seeing few videos of tanks driving in. And it has, and so I'm very grateful for the era we live in, and also for all the YouTubers who seek the truth.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly. It's dismantling a system, or you mentioned the machine. There is a machine as well that's
Yeah,
operating, all of this,
yeah,
and this is now we're in this era of questioning, you know,
yeah,
finding out what's going on, finding out the layers beneath it, and it's a big change. It's a big change, and it's learning how to adapt to it. For me, definitely, it's
yeah,
learning how to adapt, because I'm very nostalgic as a person. I loved, I love, like,
yeah,
holding on to things as they used to be. I miss those
yeah.
times where you were just naively oblivious to
Oh
everything.
yeah, I
So,
know. You had those La Vie Rouge glasses on,
yeah,
and life
yeah,
was beautiful. And then when someone took that away, you were like, "What happened?" No, I always say, be curious. Curiosity is important for the good and the bad. Because sometimes you're curious and you go like, "I didn't need to know this,"
mm,
and also question. The same way as actors, we work, we question our characters' motives for the work we do. We question the scene. We question every moment of what is it this character wants. What is it that they want to go? What's the aim? That's the same thing you need to have from everything else surrounding around you, but not in a negative way where you're like, what is it? Everybody's after me. More of like,
yeah,
why am I seeing this
yeah,
part of the news but not this part of the news? Or why am I seeing this movie? What's the message? Like, there's always something. We do things for a reason. It's not like,
mm,
unless it's an
mm.
artistic contemporary art movie where a plastic bag is flying and you're watching it for 20 minutes and it's very meditative, and
Well, that's
you
where
don't
you
need
see
to
the
see.
core. That's where we look at the core of what
Yeah,
art is supposed to help us see more than the obvious. Help us, you know, and I hope that stays. I hope we can preserve that rather than it being a very, you know, regurgitating what is the reality, or, you know, which is the political issues that exist, which is the, you know, and
the division. I hope this division stops. I hope this us and them, you know, comes to a point where we realize we're all one. We're all striving for the same thing, and we're gonna end up, you know, into our graves. No one is gonna survive this life here. What is it that I say? I say, I have it on my Facebook. I don't know who said the quote. So if anyone knows, comment. It says, "Don't take life seriously because no one gets alive out of it anyway." And that's the thing, is like, you have this one life, you share this planet. There's a lot of people. There's not us and them. You might disagree with people, but that's the point where you know, you just go like, they have a different opinion than me.
Yeah.
And of course, there is perfect acts and all that. You don't need to tolerate that. But this us and them. Just making a quick note. Also, what I also love is you do now see a lot of Western actors in Bollywood movies that I think is also fantastic. You know, the vice versa, like getting a lot of Bollywood actors into Hollywood. Also it's opening up. It's opening up. It's not anymore Bollywood movies or Turkish movies, and then you have Hollywood movies or European movies. It's starting. It's starting, but you know, I think for you and me as an artist, we feel like it's very slow motion. But it's a big wheel. It's a big wheel, so we have to be patient. But
and knowing how to catch on, knowing how to stay grounded in what you really want to offer. That's the thing. It's like knowing because you could do something from your head, just kind of like think, oh, that's the way we should do it. But why, you know, that's using the word should, which is basically, again, something I remember not using that word because it limits your creativity to say you should do this, you know. No, you do it because you want to, because you believe in it, because you love it, you know, rather than feeling like you have to cater to certain, you know, in order to. I already
feel that when you know, you have a role, you're already very much catering to that character's needs. That's already very much like, you have to, at least for me, like, you have to understand your character, understand what they want, scene by scene, throughout the entire story, catering to who is this character, first of all, how do they drink coffee, that's already like a big job. And then on top of that, if you have to add to it, like, it's this, you know, the ethnicity is important, but if that's to every time be background to mind connected, this is the reason I landed on the role, it just, it's not anymore fun.
Exactly.
I'm like, I got it again because, you know, I just happen to be born in this country, or my father is from there, and then it's not anymore fun, because you do want to get a diversity in your work of working with different type of characters.
Yeah, different stories, different worlds, whether you're playing characters, creating things, you know, it's all for sure.
Super. I think this was fantastic. I'm looking forward to our next
so much more
podcast.
Always. Definitely. And we'll help.
Thank you so much, Vasim. I this put a lot of thoughts now that I'm gonna carry throughout the day.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited for us we'll be inviting more guests soon too. So I'm excited to hear artists that we'll be bringing on here, and hearing their perspectives as well.
Definitely. Definitely. And it's always like, you know, we have these things we talk from personal level, but it's also great to hear from other, because there might be a place where they go like, actually, you're wrong because this and this happened, and you're like, oh, I didn't get the memo. And it's good to all the time have an open mind, you know, because we are talking about all this stuff from a very personal level.
Exactly. Opinion, it's just our opinions and our thoughts that we're sharing. So definitely. Yes. All right.
I'll see you soon.
Yes, see you soon.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.